So today's lecture topic is total potential energy pi. Total potential energy pi. Let us suppose we have an arbitrary object like this, and there are some forces acting on the body, right? Let us suppose we have a certain body and there are some forces acting on the body. Now, what do I mean by the total potential energy? For example, if I give you this particular body under this kind of force system, if I ask you what is the total potential energy of the body, then what would be your message? I mean, what would be your answer? Now, basically, listen. The thing is, you may have strain energy, density, or we also call it as simply strain energy, or we also called as internal stored energy. Okay, so total potential energy, potential is nothing but we all know that is the capability. Okay, it's the capability to do work, to do some work. So strain energy density, or we also call it as strain energy or internal stored energy. What do you mean by strain energy density? Like if I say mass density, then that would be mass by volume. If I say weight density, then that would be weight by volume, right? If I say strain energy density, then that would be strain energy per volume. What is strain energy? What is the unit of strain energy? What is the unit of strain energy? Energy unit is Newton meter. Volume is meter cube. So you'll get units as Newton per meter square. So you'll get units as like, pressure or stress. Okay. So why I'm saying these things is this strain energy is strictly related to the internal internal structure of the body. Okay, so when the body is under the action of particular force, right? This strain energy, or this, what we also call it as internal stored energy, like there will be certain energy stored inside the body which is due to the configuration of molecules, or it is something which is attributed to the structure itself. Okay, it has nothing to do with the force which is acting on the outside or externally. It is something which is happening internally, right? So strain energy is completely internal. That is the reason we also call it as internal stored energy. Okay, hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So now people also call it as simply, instead of calling it as internal stored energy, people call it as strain energy. Why? Because there will be certain strain inside the body, inside the structure of the body, and we also call it as strain energy density. Well, we all know what is strain energy. Strain energy is denoted by U, and that is half stress into strain, half stress into strain, or we can also write it as half load into extension. Okay, now this is strain energy. Fine. if I take this strain energy, which is denoted by U, then I know strain energy is nothing but half load into extension. Also we can write it as half stress into strain. That is what you're going to get. Okay, but just look into it. Let us say load as P. Let us represent load as P and extension as some, let us say delta. Okay, if I multiply and divide with A, cross sectional area, half into P by A into delta. If I multiply and divide with L, so L into A into delta by L. And now we know what is P by A. P by A, P is P is load and A is cross sectional area. So load per cross sectional area is nothing but your stress, right? So half, what is P by A? Sigma. What is delta by L? What is this delta by L? Delta by L, delta is extension or change in length. In other words, L is original length. So change in length by original length. Change in length by original length is nothing but your strain, epsilon, into length into cross sectional area, nothing but your volume, right? Am I clear? When you say simply strain energy, this is it you're going to get, right? That is U. Now, if I consider for a small element inside a body, if I consider a small element, for small differential element, this becomes du is equal to half sigma into epsilon into dv. If I integrate both sides, integral du, let us say energy, right? So u1, u2, half, integral half sigma epsilon dv. But here on the right hand side, there is volume, right? So we have to integrate over the volume. Here, this is going from, integral du is simply u. So it has certain inner limit and outer limit. So let us say u1, u2. So this becomes simply u2 minus u1 is some value. So integral du is u. Or you can, if you substitute these upper limits, if you think you have upper limits, then that is some value. So I simply write it as u. U is equal to, I can take half outside. So half integral or volume sigma epsilon dv. Now, if you consider three-dimensional element, what would be your sigma? Sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, tau xy, tau yz, and tau xz. What is this? 6 by 1. Similarly, if you consider epsilon, what would be your epsilon? Strain. Epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, gamma xy, gamma yz, and gamma xz. Again, this is also 6 by 1. Now here, if I have to multiply sigma into epsilon, sigma is 6 by 1 and epsilon is also 6 by 1. Can I multiply these two vectors? Because vectors should also always be represented in a column matrix, right? So that is the reason sigma and epsilon I have represented as column matrix. So 6 by 1 into 6 by 1. Matrix multiplication is not possible. Now, ultimately, what I have to get? I have to get this as a simple value 1 by 1 because u is 1 by 1. It's a value, strain energy. When I say energy, it's some value, right? So you observe very carefully. Instead of writing sigma as a column matrix, I can write a row matrix and I can put transpose, like sigma transpose is equal to sigma x, sigma y, sigma z, tau xy, tau yz, tau xz, whole transpose. So what is this? What is the order of this? Instead of 6 by 1, now this becomes 1 by 6. So if this becomes 1 by 6, so sigma is equal to, so u is equal to half integral volume sigma epsilon dv. Now, if instead of this sigma, if I write sigma transpose, then that order would be 1 by 6 and epsilon would be 6 by 1. So now matrix multiplication is possible because number of rows in the first matrix, number of columns in the first matrix will be equal to the number of rows in this number of columns. I mean, number of columns in the first matrix should be equal to number of rows in the second matrix. So now matrix multiplication is possible. And what I'll get a simple value, which is 1 by 1. So u is equal to half integral or volume. So instead of writing sigma into epsilon, I should write, for the matrix multiplication to be possible, I should write sigma transpose epsilon dV. This is nothing but your strain energy. So this is your strain energy or internal stored energy, or people also call it as strain energy density, whatever. Okay, but this is something very much related to internal, inside of the body, not on the external forces. Okay, now okay, so let's move now to, so I told you total potential energy pi is equal to strain energy denoted by U and plus work potential. Let us write it as W into P, and some textbooks they also call it as external work. They call it as external energy and external potential energy, and they simply write it as U1, U2 or something like that. But it would be much better if you can differentiate both strain energy and work potential. Okay. Now, what is work potential? Again, we'll come back to that particular problem. We'll come back to that, but this example. Okay, there is certain body and there are certain loads acting on the body. Okay, now you see here, strain energy is something only related to internal. It is not related to the external forces. But now, because of this external forces, what kind of forces? Maybe it is body force, or it is traction or surface force, or it could be point load, right? Because of these forces, what happens? There will be certain potential energy, there will be certain strain, and there will be certain potential energy developed inside the body. But in this case, it is not internal. It is not because of the structure, but because of the loading acting on the body. Because of these kind of loads acting on the body, there will be potential energy. And then these are because of the external forces. So external, we also call it as external potential energy or external stored energy. We also call it as external stored energy. No need to remember all these things, but in order to give you an understanding, I'm just giving the names of different, I'm just giving these different names so that you can understand. Internal stored energy is nothing but your strain energy, which is something related to the structure itself. But external potential energy or external stored energy, this is something because of the loads acting on the body, right? Because of the loads acting on the body, this potential energy has been developed. This potential energy, because there is strain, and whenever there is strain, there will be certain potential energy, right? Hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Now this external forces are always conservative. What I mean by conservative is, before telling you that, let me tell you what an example. Let me give you an example of non-conservative force. Let us take sliding friction. Whenever a certain block slides on a particular wedge shape like this. So what happens? What happens? Because this block and the surface is in contact, the friction will be generated, and that frictional energy is always negative, right? That force into displacement is always negative. Why? Because this particular force is non-conservative. What I mean by that is, okay, let's leave all of that. See, whenever this friction happens, what will be happening at that particular contact? Heat will be generated, right? We all know, if we rub our hands, or if we rub some two objects, friction will be generated because of the contact force, right? So we know very well that in this case, what is happening, whatever the work is being done on the body, that work is being converted, or that work is being transformed into heat, obviously, because energy can neither be created nor be generated. That energy, but here in this case, it is not stored, but that is being converted to another form, which is what we call heat form, right? And that is the reason, if you rub your hands, you get warm, you feel the warmth. So what I mean to tell you is, this is non-conservative. This force is not being conserved. Whereas in this case, we are talking about, okay, all our bodies are linear elastic bodies. That means we are considering its elastic limits. Okay, in all our problems, we are considering the body to be linear elastic body, which obeys the stress strain relation. Okay, above the elastic limit, yes, we all know stress strain relations cannot be hold well, but below that, yes, it would be linear relation, stress strain relation. So we assume the bodies to be linear elastic bodies. We all know this, right? So up to this elastic limit, stress is directly proportional to strain, right? So we consider all the bodies in our course, we consider the bodies to be linear elastic bodies. Now what I mean to tell you is, this is non-conservative force, because because this force, the frictional force, I mean this force is being, the friction force is being converted to heat, and this force is not conserved. Whereas if you take a small rubber band, and if you stretch it, what happens? If you stretch it, what happens? There will be certain potential energy, yes, of course, because there is certain strain, delta 1, let us say delta 2, there is certain strain, but because of this strain, there is certain potential energy developed, but this force is now conservative. This force is not conservative, is now conservative. Why? Because this force cannot be converted to any other form. And when you leave this, what happens? It will try to regain its original position. That means the potential energy again will come back to zero. Now, zero potential energy. You have a rubber band. You have applied force on it. What happened? Some potential energy developed, but that potential energy, it will again come back to its original position. If I want to talk in a much general way, let us suppose you have a big building. When there is forces acting on it, heavy forces, wind forces. Because of these forces, let us say that the building may sway or to lean to some degree, very small degree, but it can lean, because all these structures are elastic, right? It can lean and it will come back to its original position. Mostly in a big cyclone times, you will see structures behaving like this, right? Again, they will come back to its original, their original position. So these forces are conservative. Why? Because this force is not being transformed to any other form, but it is being stored inside the body. So these forces which we apply, these are conservative forces. And because these are conservative forces, the potential energy will again come back to zero. So that is the reason this potential energy, it will never come back to zero. So this is always positive. But this work potential, the potential energy due to external loads or forces are always conservative. That means they are negative, because there is a potential that that potential energy will come back to zero, come back to its original position, right? So that is the reason work potential is always negative. Please try to understand this. Now, in how many ways external potential energy can be developed inside the body? It just depends on the external forces or external loads, whatever acting. Now, what are the external forces that we consider? Just a moment. So what are the work potential? How many ways this work external potential energy can be can be there on the body? By three ways, by three forces. One is body force, by traction or surface force, and then point load. Right? So let's first suppose work potential. Let us suppose this is as work potential due to body force, and body force is denoted by small f. Work potential due to body force. I said this is work. So what is work? Force into or load into displacement, right? What is load here? Load is F. Let us suppose displacement is U. Small u is displacement. Okay. But body force always will act on the whole volume of the body, right? So I can write it as, if I integrate over the whole volume, this force, if I integrate over the whole volume, then integral over volume F into U into dV. But F is also a vector, which is a column vector, column matrix, and U is also displacement. Again, it's a vector, so it's a column matrix. So you cannot multiply these two. So what you will get, if it is two dimensional, then simply Fx Fy, or let us suppose two dimensional Fx Fy, Ux Uy, right? Or three dimensional Fx Fy Fz, U is Ux Uy Uz, right? So displacement in x direction, displacement in y direction, displacement in z direction, force in x direction, y direction, and z direction. So this is, let us say, if it is three, even though it is three dimensional, 3 by 1 and 3 by 1, right? So matrix multiplication will not be possible. So you have to put transpose to any one, right? So integral volume U transpose F dV. So this is work potential due to body force. Am I right? Similarly, what are the other forces by which work can be done on the body? And see, always remember, work potential is nothing but potential energy which is developed because of the work done on the body. In what ways work can be done? Forces into displacement. If there is no force, work cannot be done. So what are the forces that can be acting on a body? It can be body force, which acts on the whole body, whole volume of the body. It can be surface or traction force, which acts on the surface of the body, or it can be a point load which acts only at certain points. Okay. So now work potential due to now traction or surface force. Let us take that as T. Let us denote that by T, traction force as T. So what is that? Again, we know what is work. Work is done on the body. So work is load into displacement. What is this load? T into what is this displacement? U. But here in this case, this force will act only on a particular surface. This force can act only on a particular surface, right? This force, which is distributed force per unit area, it can be distributed only on a particular surface. Or if it is body force, it can be distributed over the whole volume of the body, right? But this is, I'm talking about surface of traction force. It is distributed only on a particular surface. So integral over surface U or T into U into ds. But T, if I take T three dimension, Tx, Ty, Tz, U, Ux, Uy, Uz. So matrix multiplication is not possible. Both are vectors and both are represented as column matrix, and same order, right? So you have to put transpose to any one. So integral of surface u transpose t ds. So this is your work potential due to traction or surface force. Is that clear? Now, what is the other force left over? What is the other force left over? That is point load. Am I right? Okay, one second. So that is work potential, or we'll write here. Work potential due to point load P. Again, we know what is work. Work is nothing but load into displacement. What is load here? P into what is displacement? U. Shall we integrate here in this case? Where is the point load acting? Point load is neither acting on any particular surface nor acting on the whole volume of the body. That means it is neither distributed force per unit area or nor it is distributed force per unit volume. It is simply force acting at a particular point, right? So instead of integrating on over a volume or over a surface, what we'll do is we'll simply add the work potentials at each and every point where the point loads are acting. Let us say these are my point loads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let us say work potential due to point load 1, work potential due to point load 2, WP3, WP4, WP5, so on. If I add all these work potentials, then I'll get the potential, work potential due to point load on the whole body, right? So what I'll do is sigma I is equal to 1 to n pi ui. But we know P, again, it's a force, it's a vector. U is also a vector, same order. Matrix multiplication will not be possible. So what I'll write it as I is equal to 1 to n ui transpose Pn. So this is work potential due to point load, right? So now what is the total potential energy? What is the total potential energy? Total potential energy is equal to strain energy. Of course, it should be represented as plus work potential, but we know this is negative, right? All these work potential term is negative. So instead of writing plus, I can write minus. So what is total potential energy? Pi is equal to what is strain energy is denoted by U. Work potential as W into P. What is U? What is U? Half integral of volume sigma transpose epsilon dV. So half integral or volume sigma transpose epsilon dV minus what is the first term? Work potential due to body force. Three forces, right? Whenever I say work potential, that is external potential energy or potential energy because of the external forces. When I say external forces, what are the three major external forces? One is body force, other one is traction or surface force, and then point load. So work potential due to body force is integral volume U transpose F dV. Integral volume U transpose F dV minus integral volume U transpose F dV minus what is work potential due to traction force? The other force. Work potential due to traction force, which is acting on the, only on the surface, right? So integral of this traction force, it is distributed force per unit surface area. So integral of surface U transpose T ds. Integral of surface U transpose T ds. See, please do not get confused. I have taken this over volume. Why? Because firstly, let me okay. Let me finish off. What is the other force? What is the point load? Point load. What about point load? Yes, I do have here itself. Work potential due to point load is sigma is equal to 1 to N Ui transpose Pi. So sigma I is equal to 1 to N Ui transpose Pi. Right? Please understand this carefully. Here, I have integrated it over volume because the strain energy, internal volume, it depends on the whole volume of the body. So integral of volume. But these three are related to our forces. And this is because of the body force, or we call it as body force term. And this is traction or surface force term. And this is point load term. Right? What I mean to tell you is, we have integrated here over the volume because body force is force acting per unit volume, or this is the distributed force. This is the distributed force over the whole volume of the body, right? Similarly, traction force, it is distributed force acting on only a certain portion of the surface. It is distributed force per unit surface area. And point load is simply acting on it, right? So this is the expression for total potential energy. Of course, we know this is your strain energy, or we also call it as strain energy density, or we also call it as stored energy. Stored energy. And remember, all these forces we consider here in this particular course are conservative forces. That means that force is not being converted to any other form. That force is not being converted to any other form, like in friction. In friction, what happens? Then frictional force is actually being converted into the friction energy. The force, because of that, the energy which we get from that friction is being converted to heat energy. But here in this case, it is being stored. That's it. It is not being conserved. I mean, it is not being converted. So the energy is conserved, right? So that force is not being converted to any other form. That force is not that force by which you get the energy, and that energy is not being converted to any other form, right? It is simply, whenever we say some force is acting, it will deform, but again it has the tendency to get to come its original position, because the problems which we consider here in this particular course are linear elastic limit problems. So your all these problems will be under inside the elastic limit. Okay, so this is your stress and strain. Hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So this is very, very important. Please, okay, you just go through this, and this is very important. Thank you so much for attending this lecture. Thank you all.